The beginning of the season for the Los Angeles Clippers was strong as they started the year 4-0, and since then it has been pretty ugly. They are currently 5-11 on the season. They are 12th in offense, they're 21st in defense, and the Clippers had a lot of roster turnover, trading away Chris Paul, acquiring Patrick Beverley, Danilo Gallinari, Milos Teodosic, and you thought that even with all those changes, they were going to have something going for this season, and it has gone south quickly. I think it's a combination of injuries as well as maybe just a start that maybe even they were a little surprised by, given how easy they were winning some games. So we look at this Clippers team, and I think you ask yourself a couple of questions, one of which is, will there be some trades to come? Maybe they pack in this season if this losing goes on for a bit longer. Maybe they try to just rewrite the ship, get some of their guys back healthy, and hope that Blake Griffin and the crew can put it together, have a respectable season. I don't know. There's a few questions, but it's definitely rough at the moment. I do think Blake Griffin is in the long haul for this team, given his age and current skill level. Is Deandre Jordan potentially up for a trade? Is Doc Rivers on the hot seat here now? I do think there are a lot of questions, and we ask these just assuming that things are not going to get much better for them this season in the Western Conference. Like I mentioned already, I think Blake Griffin is fine. I don't think Blake would be traded. He's 28 years old. They just signed him to a long contract. And while he's not one of the 5 to 7 or 8 best players in the league, he's still a decent building block. He's been with the franchise his entire career. I think he does give the team a sense of character. And even if you're a bad team, but you still have Blake Griffin, I mean, you might as well just hold on to him, right? There's no sense in trading him away if you're going to be able to accomplish what you'd want anyway out of a bad team, which is getting high draft picks and the like. So I think Blake Griffin's going to be A-okay, unless someone just made some godfather offer at the Clippers, which I guess is not impossible, but given where Blake is, I don't know how much teams would really give up, because like I mentioned, he's not a top 10 player, but he's certainly a top 21, I would say. But now we talk about Deandre Jordan. He has a player option after this season for about $24 million, which he might not be able to get that much on the open market, but given his age, which is now 29 years old, maybe he would just want to get out of LA and just be on a different team, and maybe the Clippers would know that he would be willing to leave, and they would begin to look to trade him away. And I think there would be a lot of teams willing to take on DeAndre Jordan's services. So that could be an interesting storyline. As far as some opportunities for them to come back this season, I mean, I think their offense has more potential than being 12th in the league. There's guys like Lou Williams, who you would assume over the span of a season would provide you enough offense to make the defense not be able to just load the paint on Blake Griffin or DeAndre Jordan rolls to the basket. Austin Rivers has grown into a decent NBA player, so he could provide them some offense on the perimeter as well. And then once Gallinari comes back from his injury, that could help them out because he's one of the more versatile scorers in the league. He can beat some guys off the bounce. He can post up on smaller guys. There are some guys who can't defend him running across screens. I think Gallo could really assist them in their scoring woes. Now, on the other side of the floor, defense, I'm not as positive about what their potential is on that side of the floor, because if you just go down the roster, the amount of guys who are real defensive players on this team, there's not a whole lot. Who's the starting point guard right now? If you're looking at Lou Williams or Austin Rivers, I guess Rivers might be the better defender, but I wouldn't credit either one of them as being real guys you can depend on defensively. Blake Griffin has never really gone to another level as a defender. The small forwards they're trotting out there with Gallo being gone, a lot of the time it's Wesley Johnson. He's not a disaster, but he's not exactly that great either. DeAndre Jordan may be the one defender who's played a lot so far who I'm like, yeah, that one guy can really uplift his teammates, defend his position well. And they've lost some close games, the Clippers. These have not all just been blowouts. There's been a close game that we're seeing here to the Miami Heat. There was another close one to the 76ers. They lost a close one to the Cleveland Cavaliers, and that's where the defense really becomes a thing, is if you just don't give up those few extra buckets, or you might not have to foul those 1 to 2 more times a game, and that could be the difference between a win and a loss in some of those close games. They've also had some blowout losses as well, which are of course not a good sign. I think Doc Rivers, even if he may not be the best coach in the world from an X's and O's standpoint on offense, I do think he can put together a good defensive system. And I think him and the combination of Deandre Jordan could be what could make them at least a league average defense. But that is going to be a bit to ask for nonetheless, just given the personnel on the team. Maybe they could make some sort of an addition, whether it be free agency or what have you. Now, Patrick Beverley is injured once again. There is currently no real timetable for his return, as he just suffered a knee injury. I think if he and Deandre Jordan both played the majority of the season, then the Clippers' defense could ultimately be okay. Without him, I don't know if their defense can ever grow to a point where they can just be a good enough team. And if that's the case, well, then we start asking those questions from before. Do I think a potential trade for Deandre Jordan could be a real thing? Yes, I do, because you would rather get something than let him go. Besides Blake Griffin, I wouldn't be surprised if this roster was significantly different going into next season. If they maintain these struggles, we're just going to have to wait and see.